Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. June 7th stands as a profoundly influential date in global history, bridging the gap between tectonic geopolitical treaties, critical military victories, and landmark social transformations. On this day in 1494, Spain and Portugal signed the monumental Treaty of Tordesillas, a historic agreement that essentially divided the newly discovered lands outside Europe between the two empires and permanently shaped the colonization of the Americas. Centuries later, the date marked the decisive conclusion of the 1942 Battle of Midway, delivering a critical American victory over the Imperial Japanese Navy that permanently turned the strategic tide of World War II in the Pacific theater. June 7th also anchors watershed moments in civic justice and constitutional law, from the brave 1892 arrest of Homer Plessy in Louisiana for deliberately defying segregation laws, to the U.S. Supreme Court's monumental 1965 Griswold v. Connecticut decision protecting a married couple's right to privacy. From the birth of Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Gwendolyn Brooks in 1917 to the launch of the Soviet Venera 9 space probe in 1975, June 7th remains an extraordinary testament to the sweeping, enduring narrative of human exploration, law, and resilience. Let us look at the significant historical events of June 7th, categorized by cultural, educational, financial, physical, mental, relational health, political, professional, social, spiritual, and scientific and technological points of view. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From cultural point of view, 1917, birth of Gwendolyn Brooks. The legendary American poet was born. She would later become the first African-American author to win a Pulitzer Prize, leaving an indelible mark on 20th century literature. 1976, The Legend of the Tribal Eye on PBS. Highlighting a major moment for anthropological television broadcasting, David Attenborough's landmark documentary series finished its major network run, permanently shifting public appreciation for indigenous and tribal art forms. 1993, groundbreaking release of Jurassic Park. Directed by Steven Spielberg, the film held its star-studded premiere in Washington, D.C., redefining the summer blockbuster and setting a new benchmark for cinematic visual effects. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From educational point of view. 1917, birth of Gwendolyn Brooks. The legendary American poet was born. She would later become the first African-American author to win a Pulitzer Prize, leaving an indelible mark on 20th century literature. 1976, The Legend of the Tribal Eye on PBS. Highlighting a major moment for anthropological television broadcasting, David Attenborough's landmark documentary series finished its major network run, permanently shifting public appreciation for indigenous and tribal art forms. 1993, groundbreaking release of Jurassic Park. Directed by Steven Spielberg, the film held its star-studded premiere in Washington, D.C., redefining the summer blockbuster and setting a new benchmark for cinematic visual effects. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From financial point of view, 1792, the first U.S. corporate bank outside a capital opens. Moving to expand localized trade and merchant lines, early American financial planners began trading under the state charter for the Union Bank of New London, stimulating early industrial banking networks. 2005, global commodity markets react to emerging tech mergers. International financial indices and tech stocks experienced sharp fluctuations as telecommunications conglomerates executed major cross-border acquisitions, fundamentally altering modern venture capital valuation templates. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th, from physical, mental, relational health point of view. 1981. Public mobilization against the imminent health crisis. Following the CDC's historic early reports on what would become the HIV/AIDS pandemic, local physician associations and grassroots relational health networks quickly organized to coordinate patient support protocols. 1999. Discovery of the presenilin 1 gene mutation. Geneticists published a vital breakthrough detailing how specific mutations in the PSEN1 gene accelerate aggressive, early-onset familial Alzheimer's disease, providing crucial diagnostic targets for neurology and mental health research. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From political point of view, 1099, the siege of Jerusalem begins. During the First Crusade, Christian armies arrived at the gates of Jerusalem and officially commenced their brutal, month-long siege of the city, a pivotal and tragic event in medieval geopolitical history. 1494, signing of the Treaty of Tordesillas. Representatives of Spain and Portugal signed a monumental treaty dividing the newly discovered lands outside Europe between the two empires, establishing a global line of demarcation that shaped the colonization of the Americas. 1942, end of the Battle of Midway. The historic 4-day naval engagement concluded with a decisive American victory over the Imperial Japanese Navy, permanently turning the strategic tide of World War II in the Pacific theater. 1981. Israel destroys Iraq's Osirak reactor. In a daring surprise military operation codenamed Operation Opera, Israeli fighter jets struck and destroyed the French-built nuclear research reactor outside Baghdad, dramatically altering Middle Eastern geopolitical dynamics. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From professional point of view, 1924, the fatal Mallory and Irvine Everest expedition. British mountaineers George Mallory and Andrew Irvine were last spotted making an attempt toward the summit of Mount Everest before disappearing, establishing an enduring professional legacy of strategic risk-taking and endurance in high-altitude exploration. 1953, high-stakes career turn for Chuck Berry. The pioneering rock and roll musician signed his foundational professional management agreements, accelerating his transition from a local club act to a globally influential songwriter and performer. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From social point of view, 1892, Homer Plessy arrested in New Orleans. Homer Plessy, an African-American man, deliberately sat in a whites-only railway car to challenge Louisiana's segregation laws, sparking the landmark Plessy v. Ferguson Supreme Court case and a defining chapter in the civil rights movement. 1965, Griswold v. Connecticut decided. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a state ban on the use of contraceptives violated the constitutional right to marital privacy, establishing a monumental social and legal precedent for individual liberty. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th. From spiritual point of view, 1692, The destructive Port Royal earthquake. A catastrophic earthquake struck the notorious pirate hub of Port Royal, Jamaica, swallowing large portions of the city into the sea, an event widely interpreted by contemporary global societies as a divine spiritual judgment. 1929. The Lateran Treaty takes effect. Following its initial signing, the historic treaty officially went into effect, creating the independent state of Vatican City and restoring sovereign political and territorial autonomy to the Holy See. Historically significant things that happened on June 7th from scientific and technological points of view. 1965, launch of the Gemini 4 capsule recovery. NASA successfully completed the recovery operations for the Gemini 4 crewed spacecraft following its historic orbital mission, solidifying early technological parameters for deep space splashdown engineering. 1975, launch of the Soviet Venera 9 space probe. The Soviet Union successfully launched Venera 9 toward Venus. It would go on to become the first spacecraft to land on another planet and transmit back black and white television images of its surface. Hi viewers, family and friends. How did you like the content of this video? Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please write in the comments your name and the place you are watching from. Since our viewing family is spread all over the world, it will be nice to know which city and the country you are watching from, so I can say hello to you. Science and technology. Reading and listening to the historical accomplishments on this date of those who have gone before us, I, as a professional engineer with interest in structural engineering, energy-efficient buildings, ICF construction, and as Google Docs expert with interest in spreadsheet-based solutions, draw inspiration to ask of myself the million-dollar question. What would I accomplish today? Think about the Japanese practice of Kaizen. Let me know in the comments. What would you accomplish today? Your subscribing to the channel inspires me to post more such videos. Thanks for your patronage. See you in the next video. Sincerely, Yogi Anand.